for those of you who are concerned about not being able to find out why you slipped or relapsed, some of you are unfamiliar with your natural sex drive. Some of you are starting to experience your natural sex drive, but you're so immersed in your reboots that when you start experiencing your natural sex drive, you start freaking the fuck out. You just think it's a slip or relapse because for you, every urge is connected to your natural sex drive. Let me ask you this. What if you experience your natural sex drive and you're in the middle or late stage of your reboot? Serious question. I want to see an answer. But you just happen to be tired when your natural sex drive comes up. You just feel an urge to have sex. What are you going to do? Are you going to be like, oh my God, I felt an urge to relapse and slip because I was tired? Is that the self-care thing? What do you do? Right? And before anybody asks me how to tell the difference between your natural sex drive and your urges, I've answered that question many times in the group, also on the podcast. So you can find it if you just search using the search bar, right? But what do you do? Right? Now, if you're just like, oh my God, I never thought about that. I don't know what the answer to that is. If I'm tired and my natural sex drive came up, and I'm a guy who's constantly focused on slips and relapses and analyzing them, my question to you is, have you ever analyzed a slip or relapse and going like, you know what? That wasn't the reason for that was nothing complex. Like I wasn't medicating anything. I just wasn't medicating anything. I just have not been having sex on a regular basis. And I was just horny, like dudes are sometimes. Right? So you also want to start considering that. Guys, don't pathologize your reboots. Don't end up like these guys in the recovery community where every fucking thing, and also a lot of like red pill guys and influencers are jumping on this shit now, where they're like, I don't masturbate and I don't do nothing because real men are masculine and don't touch their dick. Let me tell you this, real men are biological creatures. They feel horny. They feel like having sex. We're not trying to do magic here. All right. We're not trying to build some cults where for the rest of your life, you're like, oh, I'm not going to touch my dick. We're here to end your compulsive behavior, a behavior that you engage in, even though you don't want to. Even when there are negative consequences to your life, you keep engaging in that behavior. Even when it is holding you back in different areas of Reboot Capital, it has an impact on you mentally, emotionally, spiritual, your physical, your social life, right? When the compulsion has gone, you are good to go. When your self-image has changed, you are good to go. Men may not understand that in the early and middle stage of their reboot. You're so focused on, I need to control my behavior with porn. I need to control my behavior with porn. But remember, if you have not defined your reboots, if you, for yourself, have not, I don't tell you what your sexual behavior should be, guys. I don't care whether you want to be in a committed relationship. I don't care whether you want to have lots of sexual partners. I don't care whether you're into like some freaky shit. I don't fucking care what you do sexually. I'm not here to define it for you. I'm not a moralist. I'm not saying none of that shit. You want to have sex every day? Have sex every day. You want to have threesomes? Have sex. Have threesomes. You want to be in a poly, whatever the fuck relationship? Do it. I'm here to end your compulsive behavior because it creates unhappiness for you. It creates pain for you. It prevents you from developing the requisite coping strategies to deal with the stresses and the tough things in life. Understand that. So when you get to a point where you're just like, man, I can't identify the reason why I slipped or relapsed, it is not complex. It is very clear why we slip or why we relapse. So the next thing would be to ask yourself, am I making this too complex? This is for you. Or is this perhaps my natural sex drive, which I have not been used to feeling for a long time, which is the reason while I start diving deep into my unconscious, I don't find anything. I'm just like, I don't know why I felt this way, right? Focus on why you feel that way. And also remember, just so nobody gets me the wrong way, natural sex drive doesn't mean like you should masturbate or you should watch porn. It's your natural sex drive. It's always a choice whether you want to indulge in that or not. So, oh, it was my natural sex drive. It's not an excuse to slip or relapse, right? And again, slip or relapse is based on your definition. We have men who are in the maintenance stage of their reboots who masturbate once in a while. They were like, yeah, dude, I experienced my natural sex drive. And I was like, I don't need to do anything I don't want to. And that's because they don't have any negative emotions connected to their sexuality anymore. If you still have negative emotions related to your sexuality, then you have not completed the work that's required to fix your self-image, to rebuild your self-image, excuse me, not to fix it, right? Sexuality should not bring up negative emotions. I'll say it again. Your natural sexuality should not bring up negative emotions. But many of you came from the no-fap world, from the recovery world, where anytime something comes out of your dick that is white or whatever color, and it is not going into somebody that is a committed partner, you feel bad. Oh, I saw my sperm. I'm feeling bad. It's fucking stupid, right? You're a man. Do whatever the fuck you want to do with your dick. Just make sure the behavior is not compulsive. If you're just like, man, every time something happens with my dick, even if it's once a year, I suddenly feel like a piece of shit. You do not have a good relationship with your sexuality, brother. You're like, well, JK, what the hell do I do? You define your reboot. Don't be scared. Don't be scared if you're like, man, I've been doing pretty well in this program. It's been a while. You know what? I'm going to be courageous and I'm going to write down a new definition of my reboot because I actually understand what it's like right now to live without porn or to live without masturbation or to live without pornography and not have access to sex. And I've asked the question a few times and I'm like, man, I think for me, this might be impossible. Why? Because I'm still learning how to get sex, or I'm keeping sex for marriage if you're one of those guys. And I need to find a way to navigate my sexual behavior because it's coming up and I don't want to repress it. Is this making sense?